Gonna call this board to order. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving to approval of vouchers. Do I hear a motion to approve the vouchers?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to the approval of monthly reports. My good friend Greg Fay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We continue to suffer from the dregs of the great, what we now call the great storm of '22. I think we're up to over 700,000, Dudley, are we not? And just a small portion of that can go capitalize into a work order.
Right.
And that's really what's hit us hard. Why don't you share that?
That's why it is hard for the year and for this month though it's a 3 payroll month. You know, twice a year we pay bi-weekly, so twice a year you have a 3 payroll month. And if you're comparing to the year before, it didn't happen in September last year. It happened in October, so that it kind of skews what you're looking at
Look
there if
good
you're
next
trying to do
month.
comparison. So one payroll's in the electric department's about 200,000, and one payroll in the water department is running about 40,000. So you would really add that to those two numbers for both departments to get to where you really are. Of course, the water department's had a really good year so far. They're 26,000 ahead of the forecast, and as Greg said, the electric department is 589,000 behind the forecast, but that is mostly due to that $700,000 storm we had. Now, that's why we budget conservatively for a year, because we don't want to end up in trouble. And we've got a lot of time to make that up, and I feel like we will. I think by the end of the year we'll be in good shape, barring another blizzard or something comes in. But my experience here, 41 years, is you tend to have one extreme summer or extreme winter. You don't have both. So we'll just hope for the best. And that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any specific questions.
Any specific questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Motion carries. Project status report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We were tracking two projects. We're slightly ahead on one. We should be completed by the end of this month. That's that work order 1426, the double circuit Highway 61, and this 3 and all at ACSR on Glen Avenue. You just approved that. We're just starting on that, and we anticipate that to be finished in February of 2023. Todd, do you need to say anything on that?
No, sir.
You see it's down 61 if you go
Probably
down
seen it.
there.
Along the river there.
We're picking up cones now, I think, on some of that. In the evening, we pick them up, right?
Oh, cones. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, good. That's all I have on that, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
unless there's a question.
Hearing none, moving on to approval of purchase orders.
We have one purchase order for approval, 2023 cabin chassis for $65,875. We were happy to get that bid from Ray Varner, and they work really well with us. I have to tell you, it's just, you see the delivery date on that is April of 2023, and we'll be happy if we get it in April of 2023. But we feel like that's a fair bid, and we recommend that for approval.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries and is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it's all right with you, we'll move on to work orders. We've got one work order that we would like to recommend your approval for. It's 3 and all ACSR. It's a feeder upgrade on Chesterfield Drive. We budgeted this, as you know, a while back, And in our crystal ball, we imagine this to be around 220,000. Now that we're doing our final engineering, we still think we can get it done for under 220, but that's eaten into some of that 10% contingency. The work order now with a 20% contingency is $229,625, and we recommend that the board approve work order 1453 for that new adjusted amount.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion approved. And moving to the recommendation of city council to approve tax.
Every year, we do tax equivalent, and we pay the maximum tax that the state allows. So there's really no wiggle room since we're already at the very top of what we pay. And the calculation that we go through, Dudley, well, you've been here over 40 years, and I've been here longer than you, and we do this ourselves, and then TVA checks it, and we've never been wrong, and they've never found an error in doing it, and we went through this several times. But do you want to share, Dudley, since it's really not good? It's good news, it's fine news for us, but not really good for the taxing districts.
Right. The, as it is no surprise to anyone in here, property values have gone up a lot. And in this complex formula that we have to go through, and I'll just show you briefly, we take our total plant in each area, we take our depreciation out of that, and you come up with a net plant. And then that net plant gets multiplied by 55%. Your house is 25, but commercial property is 55. And then you have a local property tax rate. And then this last multiplier right here is called the equalization ratio. And that comes from the state. And they base it off of when appraisals are done. They reappraise, that goes to 1. 2 years later, they reevaluate it. If the property goes up in value, according to Anderson County, then that appraisal ratio is adjusted. And normally it's adjusted, it'll drop from 1 to 92 or something. But because property values skyrocketed so much in the last 2 years, it dropped to 72. And that's the last multiplier in that formula. So when you take, whereas it was 1 last year and the year before, now it's 72% of that number, and that's how you end up doing a flip-flop on the value. And I even contacted the state, said, "You sure that's right?" Because I've never seen one drop that far, and they said, "Yes, that's right." So again, as Greg said, it's a state legislated formula, and on top of that, they get 4% of our revenue less power cost. So whereas we make 28% margin, they get 4% of that too in their tax calculation. But the reason it went backwards is that appraisal ratio. That's what hit them. That's what hit all the areas in Anderson County. And it also impacted even places like Knox County, where their appraisal, they reappraised this year, and their appraisal went from like 82 to 1, but they dropped their tax rate to balance it out, and they end up losing too. So CUB comes out ahead this time. Now,
And I think next year too, probably.
yeah, because they said it's 2024 when the reappraisals happen. So that will go back to 1 when they reappraise. And then, of course, the tax rate will adjust too, so who knows how it'll come out. It's a very complex formula, but it's the state determined it. The city of Clinton gets 77.5% of all the counties because we fall under the city of Clinton, and that's why theirs gets hit the worst, because they get
the most.
they get the most money by far.
So the bottom line is they're down about 231,000 from the 1.8 million that they got last year.
Right.
and now it's 1.5.
Right.
Does this need to be,
It does, you need to approve that, and I'm telling you, friends, that it is what it is.
yeah,
It's,
yeah. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
Here a second. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a question. When you had all the different counties up there,
Yes.
and Clinton was one of the few that was as low as .72, does that mean that Clinton had more increase in property value than the others?
It's all of, if you look at across there, .72 is every place in Anderson County.
he was talking about from the state.
Oh, from the
sheet from the
state.
state,
Okay.
where he saw all the
Very
different
first chart you
counties.
put up there?
This
Yeah.
sheet. Yeah.
Does that
That's,
mean Anderson County had a higher growth in
that's-
property value than most other counties?
that's what the state says. And they base that off of what the county tells them. It's what they told me.
Do we need to talk to the county and tell them to slow down?
No, it
That doesn't seem
it
realistic,
benefits
but-
us, Steve. No, it is what it is, and really, I believe that number. A few years, 2 years ago, $100,000. I sold the house for $150,000, and now they're saying it's worth $240,000. So, I believe it. I believe property's gone up that much in Anderson County. Now, you take Bedford County, they probably went through and just reappraised all theirs, so their numbers went up a lot. So that equalization ratio goes to 1. When they do a reappraisal, it goes to 1.
And in 2 years, ours will also go to 1, because they'll do a reappraisal. We just hadn't seen this big of a fluctuation
I
in
never,
the equalization ratio.
never, but I've never seen property values do what they've done in the last few years either.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, just blanked out. Hearing none.
We
Got a
need
motion
we need
and a second.
Got it.
To
Do
approve.
I think we had a motion.
Yeah,
Dickie had the motion.
Dickie and we're done.
Steve-
Yeah.
Steve was the second.
Those in
All in
favor.
favor say aye.
Aye.
There we go. All right, on to item 10, General Manager.
We have, and we'll ask the board to approve the pension plan fiduciary oversight. This is what we go to. We've included Todd in that group, so if we go to prison, we're taking him with us because he's smart enough to get us out. So Dudley, would you share, because you've got some of those
Sure,
numbers.
and again, should be no surprise to everyone that the value of our pension has gone down. And for the last quarter, it went down 4.71%, and the quarter before that, it went down 12%. So it's not been a good year in the market, but it's coming back up. If you look at where we finished at the end of September, it's coming back up, and today was a humongous day.
Biggest day I've seen in a long
So,
time.
and that's why you play the long game with the pension plans. You can't just, if you invest in a 2% CD, then you're not going to fund your plan very well. But the plan's still in good shape. They had no recommended changes on our investments, so we tend to lean the way they tell us to.
Yeah. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? It's just everywhere you look this year, fixed income's down, equities are down, commodities are down, crypto's down. Not that we would be in crypto. But there's no safe port in this storm. It's anomaly. But the asset allocation is going to be the prime driver of returns. We're appropriately allocated, and we're not in high risk assets, and so I continue to believe that this is a appropriate investment policy, and I would continue to support it. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Other business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please mark your calendars, December the 6th. We are going to try to have a Christmas luncheon. And the difference is, we're not gonna try to crowd everybody into this little meeting room. We've worked out with the Anderson County Fair Building. That's where you do pre-voting over there. So at noon on December the 6th, we'll be at this new location. And if you can accommodate, your schedule can accommodate, we'd love to see you there. We'll also be sending out some invitations to some of our friends down at the city. I've mentioned, and I'm going to mention again in case anybody checks in on this CUB meeting, how much we respect Doug Powell. A former employee here, has been retired for quite some time. He hasn't diminished his light that he brought to us. He is a man that good men would want to aspire to be. We just thought the world of him. One of the finest men that I've ever experienced in my life. The Receiving Friends tonight, we'll be going to that, but this world is less because Doug is no longer in it. I want to be clear on that. He will be missed. Monday, switching gears to a miserable time, is I'll be driving to Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm welcoming anybody that'd like to come, can come with me. Hate that drive. But I'm representing the East, what they call the East. There's the North, East, South, and West, and I'm representing the East of the TVA Valley. I'll be participating in the TVA's Utility of the Future. MIT did a similar thing a few years ago. They focused on the electric industry nationwide. TVA is focusing on the electric industry within the valley. This panel includes many universities across the valley, including Vanderbilt and the University of Tennessee, as well as state governments and industry. So there's a whole wad of folks. And since it also includes representatives from several environmental groups, I'm gearing up to help them see the realities of energy generation, which ought to be a lot of fun. I've already targeted out several that I'm going to make sure I don't have too much of a voice in saving snail darters. KUB, and this is thanks to Greg Jones, who is our local troll internet. He just sent this 40 minutes ago to me, that KUB is going to own and operate and maintain a community solar array. It's located on 3 acres of land at the Public Works facility, which is, in downtown Knoxville. Customers will be able to sign up for a portion of the array through a monthly subscription, and the subscribers are accredited for their portion of the renewable energy that it produces. So I think it's like $5 per share, and then they may get something back. Certainly if it was on tomorrow, they wouldn't get anything because it's going to be cloudy. So just so you'll know, to put in perspective, because I say great for KUB. I mean, it's getting a lot of fanfare, and, look what we're doing. Solar array, 3 acres is a lot. What you get out of 1 acre of these solar panels, assuming that it is set up correctly and it's on ideal terrain, it's about 250 kW. 250 kW per acre. So if they got 3 acres, I counted that up, 750 kW, right? To put it in perspective, our virtual power plant can easily put out and save us 7,500 kW a month. That's 10 times what those 3 acres will do every month, whether it rains or not. 10 times that, 7,500 kW. Now, compared to their 750. So, the point I'm trying to make is where you put your emphasis, because they don't even have AMI. They don't have this advanced metering infrastructure put in yet. But they're going to have 3 acres, and I love them. You're all doing great. If don't yell at me. It's great, but 750 kW as opposed to 7,500 kW, and we don't charge our customers a nickel. There is no buying into this. You get the benefit, every customer in every one of the 6 counties we serve. So that's, and the reason I'm saying that, because that's going to be part of the points that I'm going to make at this panel, where they get this glitzy, let's go green, and the reality of it is their efforts could be much more productive if they just built smarter with the infrastructure that they have. And Mr. Chairman, the last thing I want to say, because I want to say it in a formal way, I don't know what your future holds here at CUB, but I know what it has meant to us at the time that you've been here. And I'm telling you, Zach, the contribution you made, the commitment that you make, the time you analyze, you oversee, you support, you are a cheerleader for us, and you speak nothing but the truth all the time, and that is forever going to be appreciated, and we're very grateful for the energy and the efforts that you made on behalf of all of our 30,000 plus customers, and certainly the 140 plus employees here at this utility. We thank you, look for nothing but the best, and you are no stranger here.
Thank you. Yeah, I deeply appreciate those comments. It has been such an honor to be associated with this organization and this utility board. I care deeply about each and every one of you on staff, and equally so to our employees. Anytime I see a yellow CUB truck, it brings me a lot of joy and a lot of pride. And that same type of pride that I had when I was in the Marines, I have about the utility board in Clinton and Cub. So it's been a complete honor to not only be on this board, but to be the chair. I too don't know what the future is. However, I think it's probably going to be my last meeting. So thank you to the CUB family, and I will still be doing the best I can for the utility where I can. So thank you.
December 6th, buddy, at
Okay, I'll be there.
Fairground.
All right. Any other business to come before this board? Meeting's adjourned.